The Lufthansa Heist. In 1978, JFK Airport became the stage for one of the most audacious crimes in American history, the Lufthansa Heist. This wasn't a bunch of amateurs. It was the Lucchese crime family, one of New York's most powerful organized crime syndicates, orchestrating a heist with military precision. They walked away with $5 million in cash and nearly $1 million in jewels, an amount worth over $30 million today. Insider information, careful planning, and ruthless execution made it possible. There were no random mistakes. Every detail was calculated and every risk measured. But the aftermath was deadly. Within weeks, almost everyone involved was murdered in a series of mob hits. Betrayal, fear, and the code of organized crime left no room for mistakes or loose ends. The stolen money vanished, the criminals disappeared, and the FBI's investigation became legendary. This real-life drama inspired Goodfellas, capturing the greed, tension, and violent consequences of the mob underworld. The Lufthansa heist wasn't just a robbery. It was organized crime at its most fearless. A story of power, loyalty, betrayal, and the lethal cost of stepping into that world. The Antwerp Diamond Heist. In 2003, the world's most valuable diamonds were sitting in the heart of Belgium, inside a fortress-like vault at the Antwerp Diamond Center. This wasn't just any vault. It was a masterpiece of security, guarded by motion sensors, infrared lasers, pressure-sensitive floors, and an army of surveillance cameras. Even the most daring thieves would think twice before attempting to breach it. Yet one gang didn't just think twice. They planned the impossible. Over months, they meticulously studied the building, the guards' routines, and every tiny flaw in the system. On the night of the heist, they bypassed alarms, dodged lasers, and walked out with more than $100 million worth of diamonds. The gems were so valuable, yet they could vanish into a suitcase without anyone knowing. At the center of the plot was Leonardo Notarbartolo, the Italian dealer who used his cover as an insider to map security and people. Around him were men given nicknames by the press: the Monster, the Genius, Speedy, and the still unidentified King of Keys. The locksmith many believe opened boxes no one else could. Each had a role. The job was a machine. What makes the Antwerp Diamond Heist legendary isn't just the loot. It's the audacity. For a crime that seemed designed to fail, the thieves executed it with surgical precision, and to this day, most of the diamonds have never been recovered. The heist became a real-life puzzle, a story of intelligence, patience, and nerve that rivals any Hollywood thriller. It wasn't just a robbery. It was a testament to human ingenuity, risk, and the fine line between genius and criminality. The Tunnel Heist. In August 2005, the city of Fortaleza woke up to find $70 million missing from the vaults of Brazil's Banco Central. They'd just witnessed one of the largest cash robberies in history. No alarms, no explosions, no gunfire. The money was just gone. The thieves hadn't stormed the bank. They dug beneath it. Over 3 months posing as landscapers, they rented a small house 2 blocks away and built a front company called Synthetic Grass. They told neighbors they were installing turf. What they were really doing was excavating a 78-meter tunnel, reinforced with wood and plastic, equipped with lighting, air conditioning, and pulley systems. It was a subterranean masterpiece. When the tunnel reached the vault's concrete floor, they cut through 1.1 meters of steel-reinforced concrete and, over a long weekend, hauled out 3.5 tons of cash, only small, untraceable used bills, the kind no one could track. By Monday morning, the vault was a crater, and the crew had vanished. Brazilian authorities called it the most sophisticated heist the country had ever seen. Over 30 people were eventually arrested, but only a fraction of the money was ever recovered. Several suspects were kidnapped, some murdered, others disappeared. Because in a crime this big, the aftermath was chaos. This wasn't just theft. It was engineering, discipline, and audacity wrapped in a single flawless illusion. A fake business, months of labor, and a tunnel built under the city. All for one silent weekend that changed Brazilian criminal history. The Banco Central Tunnel Heist remains proof that sometimes the perfect crime doesn't need violence. Just patience, precision, and nerve made of steel. In February 2006, the quiet town of Tonbridge in Kent became the scene of the largest cash robbery in British history. The target was the Securitas Cash Depot, and the haul was £53 million in banknotes, which was nearly $100 million at the time. The operation began not with violence, but with deception. Posing as police officers, members of the gang stopped the depot's manager, Colin Dixon, as he drove home. They showed fake identification, handcuffed him, and told him he was being investigated for corruption. It was a setup. Dixon was kidnapped and taken to a remote farmhouse. While he was held there, another team went to his family's home. His wife and 8-year-old son were abducted at gunpoint and brought to the same farmhouse. The gang told Dixon that if he cooperated, no one would be harmed. Under threat, he agreed to help them gain entry to the depot. Later that night, Dixon led the masked gang inside. 11 employees were restrained and forced to lie on the floor while the robbers loaded cash into lorries. The crew moved with calm precision. No alarms, no gunfire, no chaos. By the time police arrived, the robbers were long gone, leaving behind terrified staff and an empty vault. The heist had been planned for months. The thieves used stolen vehicles, inside information, fake uniforms, and military-style discipline. But as with most perfect crimes, it began to unravel. Police traced DNA, CCTV footage, and the movements of the fake patrol car. Arrests followed across the UK and Europe, yet most of the money was never recovered. The Museum Heist. In the early hours of March 18, 1990, 2 men dressed as Boston police officers rang the buzzer at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Inside, the guards were relaxed. It was St. Patrick's Day weekend, and the city outside was still alive with noise. The men at the door said they were responding to a disturbance. The guards let them in. Minutes later, the officers pulled handcuffs, ordered the guards against the wall, and revealed the truth. They weren't police at all. They were thieves, and they were about to commit the largest art robbery in modern history. For the next 81 minutes, the imposters had complete control of the museum. They cut paintings from their frames, smashed protective glass, and moved through the galleries with quiet purpose. When they were finished, 13 works of art were gone. Masterpieces by Rembrandt, Vermeer, Degas, and Manet among them. The hall was valued at over $500 million, a fortune in art that has never resurfaced. The 2 guards were tied up in the basement, left unharmed but humiliated, and the empty frames still hang on the walls today. A silent reminder of that night. The Gold Heist. In November 1983, armed robbers struck the Brinks-Mat warehouse near Heathrow Airport. Their target was gold bullion being prepared for shipment, and the haul was £26 million in gold bars, diamonds, and cash, worth over £100 million today. The robbery was violent. The gang overpowered security staff, tied them up, and threatened them at gunpoint. Once inside, they loaded the gold and valuables into trucks and vanished. Most of the gold was melted down and laundered through the black market, making it almost impossible to trace. Several members of the gang were eventually arrested, but the crime sparked years of investigations, murders, and disappearances linked to attempts to recover or claim the gold. The Brinks-Mat heist wasn't just theft. It was the start of a criminal saga that involved organized crime, money laundering, and multiple violent deaths. Even decades later, some of the gold remains unaccounted for, making it one of the most infamous heists in British history. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a future upload. Thanks for watching.